Hey everyone, and welcome to another Coach Ride Along interview with Service Excellence. My name is Katie, and I'm a brand manager here at Lead Hub, and we're a strategic partner with Service Excellence where they ignite the power within. Today, I'm interviewing Dr. Kerry Webb, who is just a phenomenal business coach here at Service Excellence. Stay tuned. Right off the bat, tell me a little bit about yourself, Kerry. I know you, but tell us a little bit about your background, who you are, how you got started with Service Excellence, and what you're doing there.
Yeah, great. So my background, I grew up in Texas, just a country boy, grew up fishing, hunting, playing sports. Um, After I finished school, I worked with nonprofits for probably 20 years. And along the way, I was offered a leadership position at a Christian university. And while I was there, they encouraged me to go ahead and get a doctorate. So I got a doctorate in business. And from there, I got hired at TWU in Denton, where I teach. I was director of the graduate school for the School of Management. After that, I got hired at TWU in Denton, where I was associate dean for the grad school. And then a position opened up in the MBA program for me to be director of the MBA admissions program and also be a professor. And now for probably the last 12 years, I've just been a full-time professor teaching teaching business students. I do teach senior level business students and then MBA students.
Wow, yeah, that's awesome that you have like that actual teaching role outside of Service Excellence, and then you bring that into what you're doing with your trainees, your clients,
Yeah.
and everyone else.
And to be honest, I bring a lot of knowledge and good stories and illustrations into the classroom, from working with technicians and managers in the industry. But what happened was a buddy of mine who is CEO of a large service affinity group came to me back in 2010, I guess it was. Asked him if I would create an operations manual and do some management training for his members, which I did, work with them 5 or 6 years. And then after that, Todd contacted me and asked if I'd like to come on board and be a coach, which is really my passion, working one-on-one coaching with people over the long term. Because you just see a lot more change. And to me, it's a lot more fulfilling. You get to know your people. And there's so many great people in this industry. Some of the best, authentic, real, just heartfelt people, I think, work in home services. And I just love working with them because I feel like this is an industry that really does protect our country and take care of people in our communities. So I just love being a small part of their success.
That's awesome. I totally agree with you. Working with the clientele in the home service area, it's literally the best people, like
Yeah.
just the most humble and hardworking and just go-getters. And I love all of them. It's so
Yeah.
great working in this industry.
Yeah.
So,
It's just,
yeah.
it's very rare to find an unpleasant or somebody that you wouldn't want to be around in this industry, especially as an owner or manager. Now, I've met a couple techs, okay, like that, but for the most part, though, amazing people.
Yeah, I agree. So you do have that background in teaching in academia. Um, would you say that is your kind of unique approach to coaching? Do you have another unique approach to coaching that might set you apart from some of the other coaches at Service
Uh,
Excellence?
yeah, well, maybe. So, my master's degree was in teaching and training adults. And so I spent 4 or 5 years full time training, doing leadership conferences and travel around the country, speaking to groups of anywhere from 50 to 2 or 3,000 adults. And so I feel like that helps me to relate maybe a little better when I'm training technicians, to ask good questions, to listen to what they're saying, to learn from them. And to be honest, I feel like I've had a great session if I've learned something from the technicians I teach. And when I'm learning something from them, they're excited, they're interested in what they're telling me. And then at the same time, I feel like we build up a friendship and trust, and then they learn from me. And to me, that's really my style of training and teaching, is more personal, kind of tailor it to what people are looking for. Try to build a lot of trust so that they listen to me. And then if it didn't work, come back and let's talk about it. Maybe they didn't understand what I was saying, or maybe I told them something that isn't going to apply in this situation. And we need to re-examine it. That's okay too.
Yeah. Yeah. Communication is key
Absolutely.
in all training and all teaching and learning and mentorship things. You just got to keep that open flow of communication, which I think Service Excellence just does a fantastic job of, because
I agree.
a lot of training companies, it's like, one and done, let's go to the next one. But like, I've seen y'all build those relationships, and we have shared clients, and they just rave about you guys. So that's a really great thing to hear, especially
Well,
coming.
Todd has put together a set of principles that just flat out work. And I think it's the best organized, the most solid set of practices for a home service company I've ever seen. And trust me, I've looked at just about all of them. Okay. Um, the key, though, is the implementation. And this is where I think that Service Excellence has an edge, because we train the guys in the principles, but then we come back week after week after week after week, and we implement, and we ask them to tell us stories, and they give us feedback. And then we, say, hey, try it this way, because we are not trying to make robots. We're trying to teach people to understand a principle, and then with their personality, go apply it. And inevitably, guys come back and go, man, this worked. I can't believe my average invoices are better than they've ever been. And on top of that, I got all these great customer reviews. You know what I'm saying? So if we can
Yeah.
have happy customers and guys out there doing a good job, and the company making a fair profit, man, what could be better than that?
I I don't know. It is a really rewarding process when you see
Yeah.
your clients succeed after putting so much work in them like together, and seeing the work that they put in as well. It's just very fulfilling.
Yeah,
Just
absolutely.
yeah.
You want to know my biggest surprise?
Yes.
I thought that we would primarily help a client for about a year, and their guys would learn the principles, and they would start hitting their average tickets, and the company would start doing, really well, making a good profit. And then they would sort of thank us and, go on their way, and we would have to get a new customer. But what I have found is the average customer does so well at the end of the first year, they're coming back going, let's do it again. Let's see how much better we can do in year two. And actually, year two and year three have usually been the best growth for the clients I've worked with. And I have clients, I've got at least two clients right now. We're on year five. And in year five, they're having the best year by far that they've ever had, with 4 really good years underneath it. I mean, that's exciting. Some of these guys are literally twice the size they were 4 years ago, and they were doing 4 and 5 million back then.
Yeah.
So, and they had been kind of stuck there for several years, and all of a sudden they're twice the size. What's the difference? I think the difference is this sort of good consultative relationship we formed, and
Mhm.
them being willing to change and adjust, do new things, sometimes share ideas from another client that's doing something really well, which is, I mean, let's face it, if I've got 10 clients who are all doing rather well in their business, I bet there's something every one of those is doing that the other ones aren't, which puts me in a position to just pass along ideas and information and connect owners together. And that can only be good for your business.
Yeah. Um, so I have another question for you.
Okay.
You spend a lot of time teaching others, but I want to know what are some of the lessons you've learned along the way from the people you are training and coaching? What have you
Ooh,
personally learned?
okay, good. Um, Number one, you have to be willing to listen to people, not just talk at people. Uh, I mean, that's huge. And people, you have much more in-depth conversations when you ask good questions than if you just, if I spend all my time trying to tell people how much I know. Because goodness knows, most of what I've learned it from contractors and technicians,
Yeah.
right? I mean, truth be told, okay, the business concepts, I definitely had the formal training, but implementing it in home industry, in the home services, there's a lot of little, nuances to that. The other I would say is trust, the value of trust. When two people trust each other, they listen at a different level. And I've also found that when my clients trust me and I introduce them to another client, then those two clients, when they talk, they have just instant rapport. And the phone calls, the conversations, the emails become so much more valuable because we've got these bridges of trust that we built. I feel when one of my clients does well, I feel like I personally had a small part in that. When one of them goes through a tough time, I personally feel their pain and the struggle. And I don't mind telling you, Katie, I pray for my clients' businesses. And I do believe that is part of why they do so well. I do pray for them to be blessed as they treat their people right and their customers right. And it's a great feeling to be able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always just so wonderful. Like when you see like just everything that you've put in and that you've asked for and you see it just come to fruition. It's like I said before, it is so rewarding, so fulfilling to see that happen,
Oh yeah.
especially with these people who, like, again, we said earlier, are just the best, most deserving people.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's
One
wonderful to
one
see.
more one more thing. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no.
Um, one more thing I've learned, and that is the value of letting your guard down and letting people tease you, give give me a hard time, make fun of me, and just take it all in stride. Because what I've really learned is when technicians start making fun of me, that means they finally like me. They feel comfortable enough with me, right, to make fun of the Dallas Cowboys or something like that, and just to own it and laugh with them and make fun of their favorite team right back. But when you can get to that level, it's just it's so enjoyable to you look forward to those conversations every day because something funny is going to come out of that meeting. And when people are having a good time, I believe people are learning.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I love establishing like really good rapport with the clients. It just makes everything so much smoother. And it just builds that trust,
Yeah.
like you just continue working together. And when you're friendly with each other, it makes everything so smooth.
Yeah. At Service Excellence, we're really I don't know if we're lucky is the right word, but every person in our organization likes each other. And I don't know that I've ever worked in an organization before where I could say that. I know I've worked in plenty where I couldn't say that. You know what I'm saying? And so
Yeah.
it's so nice every week when our team meets that we all like each other. We laugh together. We tease each other. And when somebody's hurting or sick, we hurt with them. But it's so nice to do that, especially now that we've, our organization's grown and we've got a sizable number of people. But we've been still very selective in the kind of people that join our team and their character and kind of, how they're going to fit in with everybody else. And wow, it's really refreshing to work with people like we have as our employees.
Yeah, it is wonderful being on a great team like that. And like you, I've also had more experiences with bad teams than not, but like where I
Yeah.
am now, like at Lead Hub, it's kind of the same situation. Everybody really works together really well. We're all dependent on each other, and we work really well as a team. We all like each other. We all joke with each other. And it's a very similar situation. And it's really great to be partnered with another organization that works that way in a
Oh
similar
yeah.
way and has similar values. It's wonderful all around.
Nice, isn't it? That's great. That's great.
Yeah. Um, so for any people who might be interested in coaching and who aren't really sure, when do you think a home service company owner, trainer, or not trainer, technician, salesperson, when do you think they should get involved in training? And what are kind of the signs that they should be getting training?
Good question. Okay, a couple of things I've noticed. If a company has not grown but 100,000, maybe $200,000 in the last year or two, then essentially they're flat, right?
Mhm.
Regardless of their size. And I'm thinking right now of smaller companies especially. So if they're under $1 million and they didn't grow but 100 to 200,000 this last year, they definitely are a great candidate for coaching. Clients that are over $1 million, I'm going to say for them, if they're not growing at least 15 to 20% in their revenues, and if their net profit is not going up at least 2 to 5% a year until they get it up to between 10 to 20%. Katie, this year, I have a couple clients that are $5, $6 million companies. They're over 20% net profit.
Yeah.
Their owners are banking. And before they worked with us, they had good, healthy companies, but they never had a net profit over 10%. And literally one of them I'm thinking of in the last 2 years, they went from below 10% to 17, and this year 23%.
Wow. Yeah. Seeing
It,
those radical transformations just like consistently. It's not even if it's like just, like one out of the blue just gets like really great net profits, really amazing revenue that year.
yeah,
It's consistent. Like we see like I've seen y'all's numbers, like, and I know we share clients and I've seen their numbers.
yeah.
You see it a consistent pattern of consistent growth for all of the clients. It's
Well,
really wonderful.
here's the thing. I like to think I'm pretty good at my job. Okay. And in the first quarter, when all of our team compared a year ago first quarter to this year first quarter, client by client, I was certain I was going to have the best results. And I tied with another coach for fourth place. Now, this quarter, I think I'm going to be in first place, but I don't know. I'll find out next week. But I love that everybody on our team brings such excellence that we can say across the board, our clients are doing great, right? And again, I think it's because they trust us. It's because they're willing to make some hard decisions and do the right thing. And I think it's because our clients begin to see the bigger picture instead of just fighting the fires day by day and week by week. And they prioritize their marketing, their business strategy, even how their team is trained around building a sustainable business, not just trying to make money today. And ultimately, their customers are happier. They feel taken care of. Um, Again, I just feel like I'm a little part of this thing called the American dream, right? Where you can come here and build a business and make a life for yourself. And it's exciting to see that happen with so many people.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a really good way of putting it. That is what it feels like when you see like these small businesses just grow and prosper, and you see all of their team members growing and just being able to provide more for their families. They're able to take vacations, like do things they were never able to do before,
Oh yeah,
after, just some good training and marketing, and just it's wonderful to see.
absolutely.
Yeah, and I think there is also a certain level of, like you were mentioning, how they're more proactive, less reactive. So, what other kind of traits do you see in like your most like successful clients, like the ones that are really like, yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to work hard. Like, what are some of those traits that you see in a successful client?
Okay. Um, I'll tell you one that has been a kind of fun, and that is teaching owners the success ratio that it takes 3 pats on the back for every kick in the butt. And some owners, what happens is they get so busy when a guy messes up, they give them the correction. But then when the guy's doing good, they're so busy with other things, they just leave them alone. And so after a while, the owner, thinks their team is doing fine, but the team members feel like they only hear from the owner when they get a kick in the butt. So after a while, they dread seeing the owner, right?
Yeah.
But when the owner says, look, my goal is to find 3 things you did right this week, to find some way to appreciate you, to find some way to point out, hey, this guy did this. Let me read, or even just reading the customer reviews in our team meetings. So guys are hearing the owner read good things about them. It changes the work culture. It changes guys' energy, definitely changes guys' effort and desire to do the right thing, because now they're trying to get noticed because the owner's looking for positive things. And as a result, the kicks in the butt come a lot less frequently.
Yeah. Yeah, it is great to get that praise, like both, and like to get and to give it, like both from a management and a like employee standpoint. So that totally
For
makes
sure.
sense.
Yeah.
Before we kind of conclude this interview, is there any parting advice you have, either for people in the trades, or people in the trades who are maybe thinking about coaching in the future?
Okay. So for people who are working in the home industry, I would say this: if you don't have a coach, it's probably costing you $200,000 every year, up to $1 million a year in lost revenue and opportunities that you're not taking advantage of and that your team does not see. It's not that they're not trying, they don't care, they're not working hard enough. They literally don't see it. And what we find, if we have a client and they don't make 20 times return on their investment, it is very rare. And if I have marketing that does 20 times return on investment, trust me, I'm putting all the money I can into that marketing. So I just found that coaching does truly, it's free. I mean, it's like getting the best stock you've ever bought. The second thing is, Todd is so super fair that honestly, if we had a coach that wasn't getting, I mean, a client or a coach not getting the results, he would switch coaches or he would take it over himself. And I've seen him do that because he's committed to the success of every employee, and the success of every client, which is one of the things I respect most about him. As far as someone wanting to do coaching, I would say as much as you know about the HVAC or plumbing or electrical industry, go learn about businesses. Because if you're going to coach an owner, you better be able to read a P&L and a balance sheet and interpret it for them and put together an annual plan with the right ratios that make sense. Um, and when we have guys that come to work for us, we have like a 2-month training program. It's pretty rigorous, and we put them through all this because we're not going to give a coach to a client that is not up to the task. And another thing I respect about Todd is, a very high standard. And Chris Elmore is our operations director. He does a lot of this training. And I can assure you, when somebody's been through the training with Chris, they know what they're talking about. or they decide this isn't for them. So makes me proud to be part of a company that has a high standard, that we're constantly getting better. We're not satisfied. Um, I feel blessed to be part of it. So thanks for talking to me today, Katie. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for talking to me. This will be great. Thank you so much, and we'll chat later. Keep on igniting the power within.